outside, like I said in my early impressions, this phone looks almost the same as last year's phone. But if you think this phone is almost the same as last year's phone, turns out your class-leading 6.8-inch Quad HD AMOLED display, and it is awesome. These Ultra phones have had, 120 Hz LTPO for a while, and they've been this really sharp or anywhere, but it also gets extremely dim at night too, without any of the weird banding I've seen in some other phones. And they've flattened the display completely and brought the display right up to the very corners with some of the thinnest bezels we've seen all the way around. Plus, there's also this new anti-reflective coating on this Gorilla Glass armor that makes a noticeable difference with certain light hitting it at off-axis angles. And then there is a crazy fast ultrasonic fingerprint reader underneath to top it all off. And maybe I wish the touch target was, again, they're keeping a 5,000 milliamp hour battery in one of the best performing battery phones from the past few years, despite making it thinner and keeping the S Pen. So you might as well get into. I already know you aren't really considering any other phone. The S Pen is basically the only high-end stylus still going in slab smartphones. It's really good for note-taking, drawing, highlighting, all that stuff. But if you're like me and you hardly ever use that, there's still the gaming performance and the everyday performance. There's the newly added ray tracing, plus a 90% larger and a pair of 2 different telephoto cameras. The primary camera is still the ridiculous 200 megapixel sensor with all the same pros and cons. It's consistent and versatile across the board. It has great dynamic range. It's a quick shooter with quick autofocus, and it's also always binning down to 12 megapixels, and you should almost never switch it to the 200 megapixel mode unless you have incredible lighting. It has an ultra wide with a bit of distortion near the edges, but it's actually meaningfully wider than the primary camera, so it's really fun to shoot with, even though the automatic macro mode from it looks like trash and you should just turn it off anytime it turns your pictures from this to this. Pro tip. And then it has a medium range 3x telephoto camera that kicks in smoothly and matches the colors and expose in the gap between 5x and 10x look sharper than last year. And then you can literally put the 10x photos side by side from the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, and the new 5x cropped in actually looks better. Plus you can still zoom all the way in and shoot at 100x if you still want to take ultra stable pictures of faraway objects like the moon.